Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive on Ambarella Inc.
Ambarella.
Yeah, they're a semiconductor company. People are really interested in them, seeing if they're worth adding to their portfolios. And honestly,
Interesting.
yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. We're going to be looking into their business model,
Okay.
the management team, and of course the financials.
All the important stuff.
Exactly. And you know what? I've got to say, we've got a really interesting reveal later on
Oh,
about who actually owns Ambarella.
right.
Might raise an eyebrow or two.
I'm intrigued.
But first,
Yeah.
let's get down to business.
Okay, sounds good. So starting with the business, the core of it all, what I find really fascinating about Ambarella is their evolution.
Evolution.
Yeah, like they started out focused on video processing. You might remember them from like GoPro cameras, that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, right.
But they've made this really smart shift towards AI.
AI.
Specifically, edge AI.
Okay, now I'm lost. What is edge AI?
So it means bringing AI capabilities directly to devices instead of relying on the cloud.
So instead of my phone sending data to some massive server farm, the AI is happening right there on the phone.
Exactly, that's it. And what sets Ambarella apart is their algorithm-first approach.
Algorithm first.
Yeah, so they're creating these incredibly efficient and cutting-edge AI algorithms
Okay.
that run on their own unique chip architecture called CV flow.
CV flow. So they've got their own special sauce.
Yeah, exactly. And it allows them to pack a ton of AI power into devices that have limited battery life.
Oh, I see. So that's huge for things like autonomous vehicles, right?
Absolutely. And security cameras, robotics, all sorts of stuff. And they're not just dipping their toes in this. They've shipped over 13 million chips to more than 325 customers. So
That's pretty impressive.
yeah, they're making waves.
So they're clearly doing a lot, but where are they really concentrating their efforts? What's their main thing?
Their sweet spot is what they call visual analytics,
Visual analytics.
which is basically using AI to understand what's happening in the world based on, images and sensor data.
Okay, so can you give me an example?
Like, think of self-driving cars.
Yeah.
They can see pedestrians, traffic lights, other vehicles in real time, or security systems that can identify threats even before they happen.
Oh, wow, that's some next level stuff.
It is. And you mentioned earlier different chips, and they do have those. 3 main product families.
Okay, break it down for me.
Okay, so there's CV2, CV3, and N1 Edge Gen AI. Each one targets a specific area where AI is really booming.
Makes sense.
So their CV2 chips, those are already being used in commercial vehicles for things like lane departure warnings and automatic emergency braking.
So tech, that's actually helping prevent accidents. That's pretty amazing.
It is. And their CV3 chips, those are even more advanced.
More advanced? How so?
They're designed for what they call AI domain control, basically, taking over control of an entire autonomous system.
Okay, so like the brains behind self-driving vehicles?
Exactly. They're even integrating radar algorithms into these chips to create a more complex picture of the surroundings. And then there's N1 Edge Gen AI. These are designed to bring high-performance AI to much smaller devices with, limited power.
So that opens up a lot of possibilities.
It does, for things like robots, smart cities, basically any application where you need powerful AI, but in a compact and energy-efficient package.
So the technology definitely seems like it has potential. But what about the team behind it all? Who's running the show at Ambarella?
Well, leading the charge is Fermi Wang, the president and CEO.
Okay.
He's got a ton of experience in the semiconductor industry and has put together a team of experts. Engineers, marketing, finance, you name it.
Solid team then.
Yeah, and in their public statements, they always emphasize strategic growth and a real dedication to innovation, particularly in AI.
That's good to hear. But, innovation doesn't always equal profits.
Right.
What's the financial picture looking like?
Well, that's where things get a bit more complicated. They've hit record annual revenues, but they've also recently reported net losses.
So they're making money, but also spending a lot to get that growth.
Exactly. Their gross profit has been improving, which is good, but those operating and net profit margins are still low, so there's probably room for improvement in their operational efficiency.
Can we get some numbers to illustrate this? What do their financials actually look like?
Sure. So their revenues over the last few fiscal years, 2024, they brought in $226 million.
Okay.
2023, $337 million.
Got it.
2022, $331 million. And in 2021, $222 million.
So revenues are growing.
They are. But when we look at their net income, there's a trend of losses. $169 million loss in 2024.
Oh, wow.
$65 million loss in 2023, $26 million in 2022, and $59 million loss in 2021.
So revenues are up, but they're still struggling with consistent profitability. Definitely raises some questions. Is this growth sustainable? Are they spending wisely? We'll definitely need to dig deeper into this.
Absolutely. We'll dive into that and more when we come back. We'll analyze the market's sentiment towards Ambarella, unravel the mystery of their ownership structure, and assess the risks involved. So stay tuned. All right, so let's see what the market thinks of Ambarella.
From what I've seen, it's been a bit of a wild ride.
Yeah, it has. Over the past year, Ambarella's stock price has bounced between $39.69 and $85.15.
Ooh, that's a big swing.
It is, which means it can be volatile. In fact, its beta is 1.66.
Okay, hold on. For someone who's new to this, what does beta mean? Explain it like I'm 5.
Okay, imagine the market as a ship sailing on the ocean. A beta of 1 means the stock moves with the ship, but a beta higher than 1, like Ambarella's, it's like a speedboat, exaggerating the ship's every move.
So up and down.
Exactly. Bigger gains, but also bigger potential losses.
Got it. So volatility is definitely something to keep in mind. But I thought the stock actually did pretty well last year.
It did. Despite those swings, it's up about 41.62%.
Wow.
Which is better than the U.S. market overall, which was around 22.4%.
Interesting.
And get this, the average analyst price target for Ambarella is $84.17. Yeah, suggesting a potential upside of 11.16% from where it is now.
So the experts seem to think there's still room to grow, even with the ups and downs.
It seems that way. It's a tough call for investors to weigh those factors, right?
It is. But you know what else I'm curious about?
What's that?
Ambarella's ownership structure.
Ah, yes. Remember that eyebrow-raising thing I mentioned? This is it.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Well, the first thing you notice is the huge presence of institutional investors. They own like 80% to 90% of the shares.
That's a lot.
It is. We're talking major firms like Vanguard and BlackRock.
The big players.
Exactly. So that's got to provide some stability, right?
It can, but it also brings a risk called a crowded trade.
Crowded trade.
Think of a room full of people trying to get out through the same door all at once.
Oh, I see.
If these institutions decide to sell at the same time, it could cause a huge drop in price.
Not good.
No. And then there's insider ownership, which is...
How much do the people running Ambarella actually own? Right, and this is where it gets interesting. Insider ownership is surprisingly low, like 6% to 8%.
Really?
Yeah. And recent filings show that top executives, including the CEO, have been selling shares.
That's a little concerning, isn't it? If they really believed in the company, wouldn't they hold on or even buy more?
You would think so, right? This is something Warren Buffett talks about a lot, skin in the game.
Oh, yeah, I heard him say that.
He believes management should have a big stake in their own companies. It shows commitment.
Makes sense. So this low insider ownership and the sell-offs, that could be a red flag for some investors.
It's definitely something to think about. It might mean they're not as confident in the company's future, or there could be other reasons, but it's important to factor in. And then you have the remaining 10% to 15% of shares held by retail investors, like you.
So we're at the mercy of what the big institutions do.
Pretty much. But every investment counts. Now, let's talk about risk assessment.
Time to get serious. Every investment has risks. What potential challenges do you see for Ambarella?
Well, one of the biggest is competition. They're up against some giants.
Like who?
NVIDIA, Qualcomm, even Intel, all fighting for that top spot in AI and semiconductors. These are companies with